go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Ronline Report. This man needs no introduction. He is 7-time Mr. Olympia, the gift. Used to be from Colorado, now from Florida. Please welcome Phil Heath. What's up, Phil?
Yes.
Now you're sideways. There you go.
Okay, yeah. We got it. All right, cool.
I even wore this. I wore this for you today.
And it's funny because this stupid screen, I swear, is like giving us the weirdest time. And I'm trying to figure it out. It just keeps, but anyway, I can't see your face. I can only see your shoulders.
That's okay. So the shirt is the 2010 Olympia show, which I thought you won, but you know.
Dude, I know. Like, I'll say this real quick. You know, Jay obviously deserved the win. I get it. Yeah. But that was probably one of my most underrated physiques.
Yeah.
Now I can actually, in retrospect, kind of look over these photographs and I'm like, 2010 was freaking gnarly, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, from the Arnold Classic, like I lost the Arnold Classic to Kai, and then which was I thought it looked great there, and then the Olympia was fun, man. Like that was a good year. So I'm glad that you still have that shirt, you know, nice and neat.
and you know, I've said this before. I love Jay. Jay knows I love him. He's my boy. But when he was announced, or when I think Bob back then was Bob doing second place and then first. I can't remember when he perfected it.
No, actually, it was the same as what he's always done. And the next name I read for the 2010 Mr. Olympia is Jay Cutler. And
50%, a full 50% of the audience immediately got up and got the hell out of the theater. Didn't wait to hear anybody's speeches, nothing. They were like, nope, that's it. Phil didn't win. F this. So
wow,
anyway, yeah, it was a great year.
Those are really good times when people root for you, you know.
let's bring it up to the present because we have the 2022 Mr. Olympia coming up very, very soon.
Yes,
and you have a brand new position commenting on the pay-per-view. I was going to say webcast pay-per-view, which is available, guys. MrOlympia.com. That's a pretty easy website to remember, guys. MrOlympia.com.
And I'll have to stop you real quick. It's actually OlympiaProductions.com.
You can get it at both. You can get it both.
So they can go through both. But OlympiaProductions.com. I'm just going to let everybody know right now. You got to get on there. You got to go get that package because the prices will go up next week. And I want to make sure everybody's saving money, especially during the holidays. So I don't want to hear any excuses as to why we didn't try to save you some bucks.
True. So how did this come about? I'm sure they've thought about you commentating for a while. What made it finally happen this year?
You know, essentially just putting our heads together. I mean, myself and Dan, I've known Dan for years. I mean, gosh, Dan actually commentated my pro debut in Colorado in 2006.
Oh boy. And,
you develop a relationship. And we've kept those relationships strong. And then with the addition of Jake Wood actually owning the Olympia brand, and I've known Jake as well. And, we just mold our heads together, just had a couple sit downs and just talked about it on the phone and on Zoom. And then, we're like, how can I actually, if I'm not going to compete right now, how can I contribute? And that's my biggest thing. Like, how can I contribute to the fans, to the sport that I love? And to be quite honest, to the athletes, because personally, I always felt like things could be done better, but why talk shit when you're sitting on the sideline? Put yourself in there and see what you can do. So that's what I wanted to do. They thought it was a good idea. I actually thought it was a great idea. And we put pen to paper and here we are.
Yeah, because, there was always some kind of webcast when you were competing. I think we had it all the way back then. We had that technology existing and you probably went, you couldn't watch it live. You were busy competing, but you probably went back and you listened to the commentary about yourself and other competitors. And, what are some things, we won't put anybody on blast or anything, but what are some things that you're thinking as those years went by? If I was commentating, I would do it this way instead.
I always feel like, regardless of who commentates, I think my job, and I always feel like the job of the commentator is to provide clarity to the casual observer, the person that isn't necessarily a huge fan. They're just like, hey, I heard about this. I'm interested in this. I want to be entertained, but I also want to be educated on this. So my biggest thing is, if we're talking about the symmetry round, what does that actually mean? Let's run through all these rules. Let's not make it about yourself. Like, I'm not going to go online Friday and Saturday night and talk about my years of competing. I'm going to talk about what I currently see. I'm going to talk about what I feel like they should also improve on, but also while edifying the athlete. Because I notice a lot of vloggers, like we're so fixated on talking about the negatives first and then saying, well, the athletes need tough skin.
Yeah.
Correct. The athletes need tough skin, but the person that is watching it, they don't need tough skin. They need to be educated so they know what the hell they're looking at. And they want to get it from a reliable source. So I felt like the last 7-time champion that was doing this was Schwarzenegger. Oh, wow. Schwarzenegger would commentate the Arnold Classic back in the day, right? So I thought, man, I think if I was to be adjudicated by someone like Arnold back then, like I would have loved that. And I reached out to a couple other athletes that compete at the Olympia, and they thought, hey, Phil always is going to keep it real with us, but he's going to have our backs at the same time. Because my biggest thing too, while being on stage, is when we get fixated on one thing, it can actually tarnish that person's view of that individual's physique. I don't like that. I think if you're a Ferrari and you have a scuff on the tire or a scratch on the hood, that's all it is. It's still a freaking Ferrari, and you damn sure know that majority of us would love to own that vehicle. But we're not going to take that scratch on that Ferrari and compare it to a Lexus or a BMW and make it seem like that car is even on par with that one. It's not. And I feel like a lot of the time, even for myself being judged, I felt like, no discredit to other physiques, I just felt like sometimes you over exaggerate certain things and that's all people care about. And then we all have done it, Ron, 2, 3, 10 years go down the road and we're like, you know, I think the third place guy could have won that. I totally looked at that different now. And it's because of the emotions are so involved in this that I think we also get carried away. So it's going to be a hard job. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm some professional at doing commentary. This will be the first big event that I've ever done. I did a reaction to the Olympia last year through Valuetainment, but being at the Olympia backstage, seeing these athletes backstage, talking to them throughout the week, and then going out there and entertaining this audience is going to be a challenge, but I'm very happy to be a part of it. It's definitely something that I'm very excited to help the sport of bodybuilding with.
Yeah. And I suggest the sandwich method where you start with the compliment, then you rip apart their back or their condition or whatever it is, and then you end with another compliment. You know.
Yeah. To all athletes, I'm just going to say it right now. Bring it. Make my job easy by just bringing it. And even if you're off by 5%, just look, bring it. Because if I see you sloppy, I mean, damn, dude, we have no choice. But if you bring it and we know you did, it makes it so much more pleasant to be able to explain to the audience that this person improved year after year. This is the areas, because of course, I'm going to be able to use a different lens than probably the average person because I was adjudicated on a very tough lens. Yeah. And, you know, I'm all about adjudication properly. But I'm really excited to see these athletes compete at this level because, again, it can make my job very easy and it can make it hard at the same time.
Yeah. And, you know, I find it interesting that, you know, guys like Sean Ray have done it, but they usually do it many years after they've retired. And they've never competed with these particular guys that they're commentating on. You've been on stage with, I want to say about half this lineup, you know.
Yeah, at some point, yeah.
You've only missed one Olympia so far. Am I
right? This will be the second. Yeah.
This will be the second, yeah.
This will be the second one. Well, third technically, because I didn't do 19 and 21, and this will be 22. Okay. So I'm not too far removed to give some good analysis of, hey, this is what we go through backstage. This is what I've seen in the past from this individual. This is how so-and-so pumps up. Ramy wasn't the champion when I was competing, so therefore he was in the middle of the pack as far as his routine of getting himself prepped to go on stage during prejudging, whereas as a champion, he always goes last. These are the things that, you know, I'm saying to the audience right now on this channel that they may not think of. So there's a different method as to how each person prepares. before they go on stage, the nutrient timing, like how do we figure this out? How much time does a person really truly need to pump up if they're already peaked? Maybe some of these guys peaked on Wednesday during check-in or Thursday after the press conference. How are they able to hold it together? These are the things that go on through all of our minds. And for me, I've had plenty of years where I was holding on for dear life to keep what I saw on Thursday afternoon, competing on Friday evening, right? So there's a lot that goes on in this, and I definitely want to share exactly what I just said and more come Friday, Saturday night in Las Vegas on the Olympia pay-per-view.
So I know there's a few different people commentating. Which divisions I know you're obviously doing open, you're doing Mr. Olympia. What other divisions are you going to be commentating on?
I believe right now I'm confirmed, obviously open, 212, classic.
Oh, wow.
It'll be very interesting. I mean, obviously men's physique, I understand that category, and I also put on an NPC show. So I've seen, that sport grow over time and understand how to adjudicate that as well. But predominantly the male portion, I don't see myself doing the female stuff just because I understand what glute tie-ins are and flow and conditioning. I'm just not sure as to if I'm going to be the main individual talking about that.
Okay. And do you know who's teamed up with you? Because it's always like
it's always in limbo. I mean, we could pretty much say it's going to be Tim again.
Tim.
Tim's awesome.
Yes.
You got to love Tim, man. I mean, he's an aficionado of our sport, and he loves this. He loves this so much. So he does a great job, in my opinion. But yeah, we're going to keep that, like the next person under wraps. I'll let that, be for later social media posts and stuff like that.
Yeah. Before we continue with the Olympia discussion, I'm just going to throw this in now before I forget about Masters Olympia was announced. And once I saw the ages, they just announced you had to be 45 and over to be in the bodybuilding portion of it. And I looked up your birthday, and you just turned 43 last month. I'm like, oh
no, this month.
Oh, it's December. Yeah, it's December. So yeah, you're still not old enough, Phil. No.
I know. So it's funny because, a lot of people started hitting me up. They're like, so is that the plan? I'm like, I'm not saying shit, but yeah, that 45. I mean, I'll be 43 in literally another couple weeks.
Yep.
Anything's possible at this point. I truly believe that. But I know what that would mean to the sport, but I also know positively and negatively what it would mean to the sport and the fans. If I were to do the Masters and not do the Open, people would say, well, why are you ducking that? I know how these guys think by now, right?
Because you already won 7 of them. I mean, come on.
Everybody, right. Like, I got the gold one back there too.
Oh, wow. Gee, you're right.
But you, like I said, you never know, right? You just never know where life may take you. My biggest thing right now is to make sure that I'm healthy as all I can be, working with Transcend HRT. They've been helping me out tremendously well throughout my, recovery from having those 2 hernia surgeries and competing through those surgeries. And so far it's been great. I've dropped, obviously, off season, I would normally be like 280, 283. Right now I'm around 260. So that's been a good weight for me. I got all the way down to 240. Didn't like that look at all. Heard the comments online like, oh man, he's small as shit. And I was like, yeah, dude, I'm small because I'm, coming off, and that's what you got to do when you want to recalibrate everything. So I did everything right, and actually just got my blood done last week and got the results back today. And things are looking great. AST, ALT, all that good stuff, hematocrit, hemoglobin, everything's on point. Thank goodness. Cholesterol's a little up, but that's normal. But yeah, it's always been like that, man. Most black guys always have high cholesterol anyway. So
but you said yours is low. That's a good thing, isn't it?
Oh no, my cholesterol is on point. It just
okay.
I'm always working on that HDL. The HDL went up, which is a positive. So that's the biggest thing, is just making sure that I have that blood work to know, like, is this diet that I'm currently doing working? Are these peptides or these modalities actually helping or hurting? And everything's been helping. Like, to watch your AST and your ALT actually drop means everything, especially after competing all these years. So I'm all about a clean bill of health, and especially going into 2023, I just want to have, for everybody that's asking what my plans are,
Hmm.
my goal is to make sure I can do whatever the hell I want. So if that means I want to run, I can jump, I can do that and still be big. I want to be able to do everything, because at one point in my career, I was still able to dunk a basketball. Like, it was like, I want to say like 2000 and it was like 2007, 2008 when it was like the last time I did it. And I was still a big dude, during that time.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'll stop doing this. And back in the day, if anyone ever watched me guest pose, this is way before social media times, Ron, but when I would guest pose, a bar trick, how we have bar tricks in bodybuilding, people do a vacuum or the splits as a bar trick, right?
Yeah.
My bar trick back in the day used to go out in the audience, hit poses, go back up to the stage and leap onto the stage from the bottom, just to show that, like, yeah, I'm an athlete. And stopped doing that after watching back in the day when Art Atwood, tore his quad or whatever, walking downstairs. I was like, yeah, that's probably not smart. But my goal, like I said, I got to make sure that I'm healthy to do whatever I want. So if, in fact, I wanted to lace them up again, then I could. But it serves me no justice by not taking care of my health. And that's why I'm with Transcend. I'm doing different sports. I'm fortifying this entire freaking physique, because if I do ever take this shirt off again for the audience to critique, I'm going to have myself right. And in order to do that, I got to take my time. So I'm just putting that out there. I know that there's a lot of other topics we could discuss, but I just wanted to put that out there for all the fans that continue to support me. I truly appreciate them. I'm not ducking anything. It's just that I'm taking care of my body right now.
I didn't watch the video, and I couldn't even tell you if it was who. It was one of the news ones, but they said Phil Heath hints at a comeback ? And I didn't watch it, so I don't know where they got that. Is it something that you posted? Something you said in an interview? Where did they get that impression?
It was that I said 2023 is going to be fucking crazy. It's going to be bananas or something. Okay. And I'll be honest. I mean, that's pretty cool that I have that much type of influence. And it's a gift and the curse, right? At the same time, because it could be a clickbait thing for people, and sometimes that upsets the fans because they're like, well, Phil's not saying that, or Phil, like, you're teasing us, because they all saw kind of like what Kai Green did. I'm not doing anything like that. I'm telling you what I'm doing. Guys, like, I dropped 35 pounds for a reason. I wanted to make sure that I was healthy. I wasn't feeling right even when I was competing, and I still did it. I put the trophies on the line because I cared about the sport and I cared about the fans. But I owed it to myself to be able to take time off, get myself right, got with a good HRT company. They're helping me fortify my physique. And in the event that I ever decided that I want to do anything more than just typical TRT, I'll be ready. But you can't be ready if you're too egotistical and not addressing what has hurt you. Like, we all know, I had 2 hernia surgeries. My stomach was distended because of the freaking incisions tearing. Things didn't work out the way I wanted to. Therefore, do I fix it, or I just say, like, well, the judges fucked me over? It's like, nah, man, go ahead and fix your shit. So if you decided that you wanted to do this again, you have no one to, you're right. So that's where I'm at. I encourage everybody to go get their blood work done. That's first and foremost. And if they want, they can go on my IG and go on my LinkedIn bio and get some cheap, very inexpensive blood work. But that's what it's about. And I know, even what we're doing right now, Ron, someone's going to take it and say he's competing next year, or he's going to do the Masters. At the end of the day, I want them to obviously follow me. If they want to say I'm going to do a contest, or there's a possibility, I'm looking in the camera right now. There's a possibility I can do anything. Yeah. It's just about the timing and how I truly feel. And that's it. I mean, if I feel like, I'm not going to sound arrogant and say I could do the Arnold Classic next year, because that would mean I need to put on a lot of size right now. But if there was an itch that I was like, I'm going to do 2023 Olympia, fuck yeah, I could do it. Yeah. Like, I could easily do that. At what level? I don't know, because that would require me to put on certain weight and see what I look like. But, that's the cool thing about aging, is that you attain certain knowledge, and that turns into wisdom. And for me, it's about allowing your ego to get set aside and ask yourself, is this the right steps? Is this the right move? And is it the right time? And when you go over that, we can all have great ideas, but if the timing isn't right, just like in bodybuilding, that's why this sport is so incredible. You can have the greatest training, the greatest prep, but if you don't time that thing up right for like these athletes that are going through this prep, we're all going to say, yeah, he looked great a week ago. Or those pictures that he posted 2 weeks out look freaking amazing. But for me, it's all about the timing of everything I do. So that's why I always make sure I put my best foot forward in life, and not just as a bodybuilder.
All right. Well, you've been very generous with the Phil Heath info. So let's turn back to the 2022 Olympia. Numbers, the sheer numbers of this event are just staggering. We've never had this many men qualified for Olympia. There were, I think, 35, maybe 36 qualified. I think we're going to end up with, we should end up with 29 or 30, because a few of, they're going to do 212 anyway. And classic 65 guys, 66 guys on stage. Men's physique, I think there's 130. No, it's just a lot of people. I mean,
a lot of guys, man.
Here's something I want to ask you.
My seat right now, because I'm like, good Lord, like first off, to the judges, God bless you, because you're gonna have your work cut out for you, right? Man, a lot of people are gonna get their feelings hurt.
That's what I said. There's going to be a lot of butthurt people after that weekend.
A lot of people hitting the buffet after Friday night, I'm sure. Like,
I'm looking at, if you have 65 guys in a class, talking about classic now, in one division, and a call out, typically you don't get more than 6 guys on stage. That means somebody's going to be 10th call out. Can you imagine being 10th call out? Oof.
Oh. Yeah. And the problem is, at that point, do you feel after the 3rd call out, if you're in that 4th group, like, do you even feel like it's worth it at that point? You know what I mean? Like, what are we really battling for? Like, if you're the 5th, it would be like when I'm trying to think, when I turned pro in 2005 at the USA's, there were 44 guys in the heavies that I won. So that was, and that did take a while, but they did run through them pretty quick, because the judges have to, like, they have to know, okay, this, we know what we're looking at. So for all those guys that are like, there's going to be a lot of people after that 15th person that they're going to say, well, I should have been in that 5th call out. Well, you get in the 10th call out because you guys were all the same. I'm sorry. Like, it is what it is. And that's kind of hard, as I'm sure, as a competitor, but it shouldn't discourage the competitors. It should just allow them to recognize where they stand and where they can improve.
Yeah, because, you know, as you know, with these big classes, you'll have 15 on the scorecard and everything after that is 16th. Because, my goodness, if there was 44 heavyweights and those judges had to sit there and give, okay, does this guy deserve to be 41st or 43rd? Dude, you'd still be at that show right now. They're trying to figure it out. So
yeah, it's and for the competitors, that you can't, you should take this personal. You should take it personal that you didn't compete in the top 15. But that doesn't mean that you should go rip a judge's ass. You know, like, you should be ripping your own and saying, look, like, I didn't make it. And these are the things that I'm going to do to make sure that I don't ever feel that again. One of the things that I will say is, I've been on stage, obviously, many times at the Olympia, and I've seen the look of athletes who are in those later call-outs. And it's not a good feeling for them. It's a very cringy feeling for me sitting there watching them. But I will tell you, if you're in that call out, guys and girls, your professionalism is everything at that point. Yeah. You should always carry yourself with a certain standard, that regardless if you win or lose, you're still a professional, because you call yourselves, pretty much everyone that competes puts IFBB pro on their profile. Yep. Or pro this. Yeah. You need to act like it during that process. If I can, I'll say it, if I can still do the same thing when I lost to Sean Roden, God rest his soul, and hug on him and tell him he looked great, and I would get on one knee and point to the sky, thanking the Lord for everything he got me. I did the same thing when I won. That means your standards are good. Yeah. But when you're over here kicking and fussing and cussing at everybody, pointing fingers, that's not being a professional. So I challenge all the competitors to actually exhibit their professionalism while on stage. You go to your hotel room, you can you can throw everything around, I guess, scream and holler, do what you got to do. But while you're in front of this audience, There's people that still flew in to see you. There's sponsors there that are looking for new athletes. And there's judges that just want you to have gratitude for the experience that you do get by earning your spot at the Olympia.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, how many guys ever get to the Olympia out of all the bodybuilders that compete amateur around the world? It's, 0.00, a lot of zeros and then a 1%.
Right.
So to make that Olympia stage, that's a dream come true in and of itself. Obviously, everybody wants to win Mr. Olympia, but what have there been 15 since 1965 now?
It's something like that. And it's all motivation to go get better. You allow it to fuel you. But I expect professionalism as an athlete, as a champion. I expect that from everybody, because if I can do it, everybody can.
Yeah, true. So you had Ramy on, was it your Instagram Live? What was that? Was that Muscular Fitness?
Yeah, we had it through the Mr. Olympia account. So that was pretty exciting. What a genuine human being Ramy is, like the biggest teddy bear we literally have in our sport.
Yeah. So, did you get the impression that he's got a new confidence, that mentally things have changed with this guy?
I think he's accepted his role as Mr. Olympia. And I think that he's been groomed by Dennis James quite a bit. You could tell in his demeanor that I wouldn't say he was rehearsed, but he was definitely in a space where he's had enough conversations with his team to solidify his stance and his presence on that live. His English is awesome, by the way.
Way better.
And it makes it a lot more enjoyable to interact with. Not that he isn't already, but I did feel that he was very, very confident. I just know it's hard for me because I know how competitive I am, and I'm not going to say he's not competitive. I was just more vocal about it. And for him, he doesn't have to be, because when I was competing, I had a guy named Kai Green that he and I were like really clashing heads with. If I would have probably competed year after year with like a Jay Cutler or Dexter Jackson, I probably would have had more of the demeanor that Ramy has, right? But it's just different, and he's always been like that. And I think what we should do is not expect him to not be himself. And he's not the type of guy that's going to go out there and say, well, this guy doesn't have this guy doesn't have that. That's just not who he is. Yeah. And that's why I didn't press him on those topics, because why? For a soundbite that's going to get misconstrued. I mean, that's just a witch hunt, and that's degrading to our sport and degrading to a Mr. Olympia champion. I think he is very well spoken. He's very confident. He's got a great team, obviously, together. They're saying, I mean, I've heard these stories as well as you have, that he's coming in and challenged the look of a Ronnie Coleman. Yeah. I have to see it to believe it.
Me too.
Because I've been in the audience watching it, and you have too. So I'm glad that I get to witness that, if that's possible. Yeah. Because Ronnie Coleman is Ronnie. Like, fuck, like that's Ronnie, man. Like, Ronnie was stood next to Ronnie and the guest posing. I've seen Ronnie guest pose after an Olympia win. Wow. And the way that my mouth is right now, like, I can say that I was like that next to Ramy, but that doesn't mean that when I stand backstage with him that I wouldn't be saying that. Right, but I hate comparisons, though. You know what I mean? Like, so I think we should.
Well, focus on the present. Focus on the present, because it's like people love to, in any sport, people like to say, "Well, what if so and so was playing against so and so?" Well, they didn't. They were two different eras. They were different decades. And Ronnie was in his era. Dorian had his era. You had your era. Ramy has his era. And it's a great show. We got some amazing new talent this year. That being said, if you're a gambling man, do you bet on Ramy keeping his title?
Absolutely. You would be a fool to gamble against a champion who technically looks determined. He's shown us progress pictures. They're the same, if not better. And I would say they're further out when he was sharing them. Now, my whole thing is, do I get caught up in the whole, like, well, this was a video from 2 years ago or whatever? Look, I refuse to just play these games. If he posted it and it was recent, and if he says it's recent or he doesn't say anything, I'm going to think it's recent. And so far, he looks on pace. We all know what he needs to do, and that is to come in shredded like he did in 2020. And I would assume they know that 2021 wasn't the same as 2020. Right. So yeah, I would bet more money on him than other people in the field for sure.
Yeah. I want to just throw this out there. What I would love to see from Ramy, not just shredded, but that quality that you had, that Dorian had, that detail, that just the fibrous look, every little muscle fiber in bold relief. Because he's got all the size in the world. He's got pretty good shape, small waist. He has put some size on the upper body to balance those insane thighs. It's just, I'd love to see a perfect. We're never going to see a perfect physique. It's never going to happen in reality, right. But we can dream. We can always dream.
Yeah. If I was a little wider, I would have never lost anything. It's just one of those things. But I do think that, yes, I mean, that's what's going to make this Olympia very interesting, is because everyone does have flaws. Mm-hmm. And he even said on the live that we did together that if he doesn't peak a certain way, then that will probably open the door for someone else that may have that more bubbly 3D effect to their physique. It's just, we can go down the line of like different athletes and play this whole like, well, if this person shows up, how do we place them? But yeah, Ramy's strengths are his size. He's going to be the widest guy on stage. Will he be the most 3D person? I wouldn't say he would, but I also haven't stood next to him, right now. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I will say that in order for him to really knock this out of the park, he will have to be better than he was last year. Like without a doubt. If they miss, then he definitely leaves the door open for, Hadi Chupan, a Brandon Curry, a Nick Walker, the list goes on.
Yeah. So, I'm not going to put you on the spot. Say, give me your top 5, give me your top 6, 10, whatever. But this was the top 5 last year. It was Ramy, Brandon, Hadi, Hunter, and Nick. We have new people. We have people that were around that missed their mark last year, like Bonak. Who are a couple guys that you think have a very strong chance of busting into the top 5 this year that weren't there last year?
You got to throw in Bonak. I definitely, I saw him in Boston and I thought, where was this guy last year at the Olympia?
Right.
I've always been a Bonak fan. I've told people this back in 2012, that this is the guy that's going to, climb very high, and he's beaten all these guys. So I felt like that Arnold this year, he missed a little bit, but I will say I was impressed with his transformation working with Chad Nichols at that Boston Pro. I was like, dude, for you to get up in age and actually not lose leg size and definition was incredible. And while packing on weight, because we all know that if he continues to grow wider up top and to keep those legs, his waist doesn't look as big. But if he devolumizes, it makes it look big. But he has great shape. He has some of the best density and muscle quality in the world. And I think he should get a lot of credit for that. He's going to be crispy, hands down. When you look at his muscles, you got to look like what people have to realize. They got to look at the health of the actual tissue. And that's what I always say about William, is that the tissue looks healthy. So when he moves, it looks like gnarly as hell. The fact that we'll see a still image doesn't really show it as well as people would say if they watched him live. So I'm expecting him to climb in there. He's definitely, in my opinion, he's going to get a chance at that first call out. If they're doing groups of 5 or group of 6, he should get in there, and we'll see how he manages to sneak past a couple guys, because he is the seasoned veteran out of all of them, including Brandon and Ramy. Like, he's been there. He's been there for quite some time.
Yeah, and he's been as high as second place back in 2019 when Brandon won his first title. So I'm not going to not going to run through everybody, but a couple guys I do want to get your opinion. Derek Lunsford, we've never seen Derek on this Olympia stage. We've seen him at 212. We've never seen him without that limitation of the 212-pound weight limit removed. and I've been following. I'm sure you're good friends with Hani. I'm sure you've been
Yep.
following along and seeing his progress. I personally believe he's not necessarily a lock. Nobody's a lock for anything, but
Correct.
I'd be very surprised if he doesn't make top 5. What about you?
Yeah, it's funny because here I am talking about Bonek, and then you throw that name in there, and that's another thing about this year's Olympia. It's really gonna come down to who peaks those 2 days, not just one. Because I feel like a lot of people are around that same level.
Yeah.
The thing with Derek is that he does have very good V taper, very good V taper. The fact that the limitations are off, and he has had some time, he hasn't had a ton of time to allow that muscle to really stay on that bone longer. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I know how Hani works on me, but with Derek, I mean, we've seen tremendous progress in a short period of time. So kudos to both of them. I do believe that he's a disruptor, no question about it. I feel that someone will also have to miss for him to just like blow through people, because we're still, you're still talking about like a Hadi Chopin. That is probably going to be the most conditioned guy on the stage, right?
Yeah.
And he carries a lot of density. So that muscle has stayed on that bone longer than I would say Derek. But and I would love to see a call out with him and Hadi, because to me, that's the call out that would tell the story, because they're probably around the same height.
Yeah.
And, you get those two, you get a Bonak, you get those three next to each other.
Yeah.
Shit.
The former 212s. Yeah.
Well, we're going to solve a question. We're going to solve a question right there. And the crazy part is that those three guys could push a Hunter out. They could push a Nick Walker out. Nick could actually push them out, depending on how people peak, because it's not like Nick isn't improved. Hunter is improved as well. But I feel like Derek, he also has Olympia pedigree. He's a winner. He's a champion. He's going to walk on that stage, regardless of what people probably think. He's going to walk up there with some anxiety. Hell, I had that shit every year. But he's going to walk up there knowing that the last time he stepped on stage at the Olympia, he was a champion. So, he's going to have a lot of confidence. And I'm pretty sure that Hani has been really working hard, peaking him, and obviously peaking Hadi to be a 1 and 2. I mean, this is Hani Rambaugh's opportunity, along with his clients, to go 1 and 2 again, like what Jay and I did. So it's going to be very interesting. But I definitely look at Derek Lunsford as a disruptor. But it will require probably a couple call outs for us to really get an understanding as to how good he really is compared to these other guys, because they're going to have to put him next to Hadi, Nick Walker, Hunter, Bonak, Ramy, Brandon. They're going to have to do that. And then you're going to have like an Andrew Jack. So Ron, here's the funny part. This is how I think we're going to solve this. No spoilers here, but there's 30 guys that are doing the Olympia, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. So once we find out the numbers of each competitor, we're already going to know the call out, like the first group, the second group, third group, 1 through 6 or 5, right? We'll know what I can pretty much, I'll bet you $1. I'll bet you $1 that Derek is going to be in a group where there is going to be another person in that top 6. He's going to be grouped with another top person.
I agree.
And we're going to be able to see right after that, is he bringing it or not? And he's probably going to bring it. So that's going to create the buzz. I don't know how I still don't know how the hell they select these numbers. But
you were there. They don't do the old out of a hat thing. No,
I never seen that. So they just say competitor number 1, Branch Warren. I mean, how many times did Branch Warren go first?
The 09, I remember he was first. I remember that very well that year.
Yeah, he would go, so we're going to have to wait and see how all this plays out, because that again plays out into how these guys prepare. And they're not going to know until Wednesday night. So It's like I said, I'm over here sharing secrets and stuff to these competitors. Hopefully they're listening. But yeah, Derek's a disruptor, man. So let's keep it going. I don't want to get stuck on Derek.
Yeah, just a couple more guys. Brandon Curry, you talk about Olympia pedigree. He was Mr. Olympia. Yep. He's been trying to get it back, and it's not like he's been sliding down. He's been second place, right. And he pushed Ramy very hard last year because Ramy was not the best Ramy last year. He had a tough year. His camp is saying he's going to come in something like 8 pounds heavier this year. It's hard to tell from the pictures. You can't really go by those pictures they take.
Yeah, and
do you think that's a good idea? Do you think trying to be? I don't think he's trying to play the Ramy game. He's not going to come in at 300, but what does this guy need to do to get the title back?
This is going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to say it. Why does everyone have to say I'm going to be 8 pounds bigger or be 8 pounds bigger? Why did you lose in the first place is my question. Flat out. Why did you lose? It wasn't because Brandon wasn't big enough. We all know that wasn't the case. I was calling the show as well last year. He couldn't match the conditioning of a Hadi Chopin, so they went with him because of the combination of shape. And mild conditioning, he didn't out-condition anybody. If Brandon Curry, and I'm saying this to Brandon because I love his body. I think he has a great physique. I've said this even when Hani Rambod helped him turn fucking pro.
Yeah, that was wild.
This is a guy that if he comes in with really good conditioning, can beat anyone. And when I say really good conditioning, I'm not even saying conditioning that I had. I'm not even saying conditioning that we've seen with Hadi. But we've never said that he's out-conditioning someone. And until that happens, I don't think the judges are going to give him the nod because he's not going to be the biggest guy on stage. He's going to be round as shit. I know he looks great. I know he's been working hard. I know his trainer. They do their best. But I'm saying this out of love and appreciation for a Mr. Olympia champion. If you want to win, go all out, Friday, Saturday night, and out-condition everyone you step across. Because you're not going to lose an arm battle, or a back pose. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything, you're going to look better. But if he's 8 pounds better, then, man, that changes the game. Yeah. But if he's 8 pounds of just what we've seen, then maybe he gets second. Maybe if Ramy comes in off, like last year, then maybe they give it to him. I don't know. But this is not the Olympia to be fucking around. This is the Olympia. If I'm Brandon Curry, this is the Olympia that I plant my damn flag and say, I'm getting this title back come hell. Like I'm bringing hell. Yeah. I'm bringing it all. So, you got me fired up, Ron. I mean, I'm like putting myself in his shoes. I'm like, dude, like I'm in there. You know what would really shut shit down if Brandon just showed us a glute shot. Yeah. And I hate saying that. It sounds kind of weird, but it's like, everybody else is doing it, but you want to scare somebody right now? Go ahead and show them that you got striations in those glutes right now. And I'm not talking from the side. I'm talking about like through your shorts. I'm talking about something like that. We see something like that, he's going to scare the shit out of everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to, because I criticize Ramy for never having that dry, crispy look with all the detail, but I've never seen Brandon with that either. And Brandon does have, my God, such round, almost like Phil Heath shape to him with the
he's a freaking, Brandon Curry has like freaking Marvel DC comic type of shit. I mean, look, like I know what that looks like. I have it myself. Yeah. But the way I beat these guys was being shredded. Like it was very rare that someone could say they out-conditioned me, even when I lost. Yeah. Like Brandon Curry has to be, he can be round. Yeah. He's gonna be round. I know he's gonna be round. If I'm him, I'm like, I'm on that step mill right now saying, yes, if anything, call me up. Like, shit, I'll tell you, get your ass up there and go handle your business. Because the other part is that you don't want to put yourself in a situation where people get tired of seeing the same look. So, it could happen. They could say, oh, well, we've seen this look before. We're going to give it to Derek or Hadi. Because they keep improving, and yeah, you're bigger, but but are you better? he says he's better, I'm going to believe it. I'm going to believe it. If he says that he's gained 8 pounds and it's in all the right places, then shit, like this is going to be one hell of a show too. So if he's 8 pounds better, man, can I have popcorn backstage?
Very last two guys I'm going to ask you about, and then we'll call it a night. By the way, this is 777. You pointed out we're doing this on December 7th, 7 p.m. We started, and you've won how many Mr. Olympias? That's right, 7. So lucky.
That's right.
That's like the slot machine, 777. That's a good thing, right? But so the two new guys I want to ask you about, as far as can they make a real impact this year, not next year, not 2 years from now? Krizo and Andrew Jack, huge popularity, name. Big push on them, a lot of momentum, popularity this year. People love new, exciting, fresh faces, new physiques. How well do you think they can possibly do?
It's tough because, I mean, top 6, in my opinion, could be solidified and it could be nullified by even a person like Ian Valier.
Yeah.
You throw him in the middle, he's a tall guy just like them. You throw him in the middle, I mean, it could null everything. So, but if we're just talking about those two, I definitely feel like they could be in that second group. And don't get it twisted. Everybody watching, that second group is we talk about top 5 or top 6, that second group is gonna be fierce. So I think both guys are going to get a shot at a first call out because the judges are going to have to call them out. They're no one is safe this year. And I haven't spoken to any judges, just so you know. I'm just going by how I see it and what I've experienced. No one is safe in that first call out. You start spilling over there and they start seeing somebody else in that second group, they may bring that person up just for fan excitement and just to confirm a narrative that this person belongs in that first group and is arguably one of the best in the world. They both have their strengths. I could pick them apart like crazy, but until I actually see them next to the best of the best, it's all hearsay at this point. But I do like both of their physiques. I think they bring a lot of, muscle. Andrew Jack is definitely a person that is not to be played with, and neither is Krizo. They both have had their own separate journey. Krizo's is much different. And he seems, from what I have read online, he seems like he's got a chip on his shoulder. And I like that because he comes from a different federation. He chose the right fucking federation, by the way. He chose to come on this side where all the sandals are at.
Right.
He came to the right side. And now he gets to put himself against the best in the world, the real best. This is going to answer some questions for him. If he's going to go online and talk some shit, this is his time to, and it's great, right? No pun intended. You put all your chips in Vegas. You put all your chips in, and you sit there and you wait. And he's going to have to freaking battle. He's going to learn very quickly what weaknesses he really has. And that's really what the Olympia is about. Not just for the athletes, but for the fans, is to find out, hey, I've been watching these guys, Andrew Jack, I've been watching Krizo online. They're flawless. They should be, everybody, I read people's comments nonstop since I'm commentating. Everybody in that top 10 in everybody's eyes should be Mr. Olympia, just so everybody knows. I see it. And I'm like, this guy, I'm like, fuck, right. Everybody thinks they're going to be Mr. Olympia. But I definitely feel like those guys could be disruptors this year as far as getting in that top 6. I'm not going to sit here and say that I see either one of them going above maybe a 6th place, maybe 5th.
I mean,
That would be
fantastic, though. That'd be fantastic debut.
Yeah, this is the year that if you're an Olympia rookie and you're placing in that top 6, that would be like almost placing 3rd. Yeah. It really would, because technically you put yourself in a situation where you do the Arnold Classic in 2023, you're a first call out person, because Ramy wouldn't do it, or even Brandon probably wouldn't do it, or maybe he would. But you put yourself in a situation where you could arguably, I mean, look at Nick Walker. We're not talking about him being number one, but he could win the Olympia, and he's won the Arnold Classic before. Right. So we all got, as analysts or fans, we're all going to be fucking wrong. Okay. Everybody's going to be wrong. I'm just going to say it right now.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be wrong. That's why I have probably the best job this year, is because I'm not here giving predictions. Right. I'm just here calling it as I see it, as it happens. That's it. You're not going to hear me say, well, this guy should win. It's like, I shouldn't say I won't say it. I will say it the day of. Right.
Yeah. You'll call it like you see it. Yeah.
You have to. I mean, you have to. I mean, don't we? I will say being on this other side is pretty exciting. And I do find a greater respect for people like yourself. And even not just the judges. I mean, I always respect them. But even the fans, because I mean, when you're sitting there and you're watching and you're hearing someone commentate, a lot of things go through your head. The biggest win for me personally will be the fact that I get a chance to speak from experience, but not talk about myself. If that makes sense. And to help people understand what they're seeing, to create better conversation when the athletes are off the stage as well as they are on the stage, and make people just want to tell their friends that they should have bought that pay-per-view on OlympiaProductions.com. You know, like, why didn't you buy this shit? Like you should buy this. And, you know, shout out to Dan Solomon and Jake Wood, you know, for entrusting me and actually being a part of it in this way, in this capacity. And then, you know, I have to say shout out to Jim Mangan and Tyler and the whole crew, Big Steve, Tamer Tarek. You know, you guys all know, much love. And I can't wait to see all these guys. I want to see you there too, Ron, right? So
I'll be there.
Yeah, and what I will say is, for anyone that is in our industry, do me this solid. Let's take some photos, especially industry people. We don't, Ron, I don't know if we have a photograph.
Jeez. I think we have one from when you came to ANC in Boston for an appearance like 10, 12 years ago.
Yeah, when I was working with Metrics.
Yeah. Jeez.
So, I mean, and I say this to everyone in our industry, including athletes, is because life is too short. We've obviously seen people come and go. But I want to capture memories. And that's why I'm glad to be a part of the Olympia weekend in this capacity. It's because, you know, it is about having those pictures in our phones that we can look back on, you know, a year from now to 10 years from now to even 20 years from now. Some of us will be here. Maybe some of us won't. We have no idea. Life has no rehearsal either. So with that said, I want to make sure that if I see it, like, hey man, like, let's get this selfie, have someone take the photo. Fans, you see me walking around. Here's the rule. If I'm eating, just
leave me alone.
Be cool. Just be cool. If I'm in the bathroom, hell no.
Yeah.
But if any other place, guys, like, you know, I'm going to try my best to obviously be on time for the events that I have scheduled. But, you know, I'm also here for these fans, man, because they help this sport. And I want to make sure I get enough pictures with people in the industry because, you know, like I said, I mean, when I compete, there's no time for that shit.
Yeah, true.
I'm usually bug-eyed and out of my fucking mind. I know how I get. So I want everybody to catch this side of Phil Heath, the more energized and smiling, you know, till his face hurts. You know, get me now. You know, so but yeah, I'm excited. I will have to shout out Resorts World Las Vegas. I'm going to be doing a cigar and sip night on Thursday evening from 9 to 11 at 8 Lounge. Go on my social media. It's on there. It is, it's not necessarily by invite, but you can go in there. You can grab tickets there at the door. If you like cigars, if you like something to sip on, and you just want to hang out with guys like myself, bringing in some of my crew, there it is. Go check me out because it's going to be the evening before I do my thing on the pay-per-view for those people that actually will attend. And I also will be at the Transcend booth both Friday and Saturday. I will be posting up times very soon. I should be there, I want to say 11 to noon on both Friday and Saturday. So don't stay out too late. But if you do happen to stay out, come holler at your boy. You know, and you know, I would love to be able to meet you guys before I, you know, handle business with these incredible athletes. And then Sunday is my birthday.
Oh, gee. Wow.
Yeah. So a lot going on, a lot going on.
My goodness.
If you don't follow me, if you're just creeping on my Instagram, follow and set the notifications, because I'm going to be posting different things of where I'm going to be. Hey, I'm not competing, so you can love me again.
No, some people always loved you, Phil. Come on now.
No, I know. And let me say this real quick, Ron. You know, a lot of times, with, like, you know, the narrative will be like, yeah, you know, Phil's the hated and this and that. Man, I got some amazing fans. I've got millions upon millions of positive fans. I think sometimes because of my high competitive spirit, that it's news. It becomes news, and we tend in our sport to kind of look at those things and generalize it as if like Phil's hated and stuff. It's like, no, Phil Heath is loved. I know I'm loved because I see the messages each and every day, and I damn sure wouldn't do this Olympia commentating if I wasn't loved. And that's why I'm giving back my time and my energy to these incredible athletes who are sacrificing right now for all of us to see something special. So, you know, I want us all to celebrate these athletes as they make the trip and make the journey on that Olympia stage, and just witness this historical moment, because it's back in Las Vegas, and you know, they deserve our you know, our applause. And if you're there, pull out those phones, but most importantly, watch.
Yeah.
If you're gonna do one of these with your phone and watch, that's better than doing this and watching. Do this and watch, because I want everybody to just see it. Because Ron, you know how it is, man. You'll see it, and it's like it registers different in your mind when you see it. But when you go like this, it's not the same.
Yeah,
so
I know. Trust me.
That's to all the youngsters, right? That's to all the 20-year-olds. Start seeing it.
So, all right, great advice, Phil. I can't wait. I'm going to have to wait until the show's over and later to watch the replay of the pay-per-view to catch all your commentary, because I'll be there. But for you guys at home who can't make it to Vegas, olympiaproductions.com, or if you can't remember that, MrOlympia.com also has
exactly.
a link there. Either one will take you there. And like Phil said, it's reduced price now. The price will go up. So get it, book it now, and you'll save some money. Christmas is coming, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all that stuff. So you want to have some money saved. But man, a great anticipation for what you're going to do as commentator. I'm curious to see how it all goes, because you've been on the other side for many, many years. And now we finally get to see you on this media side with us knuckleheads. So
I love it.
So, wow. And also, of course, want to remind everyone, we'll be doing tons of coverage on this channel, the YouTube channel for Muscular Development, all weekend. Follow us. We'll also be doing a play-by-play on musculardevelopment.com on the forums. Check it all out. There's going to be coverage all weekend. This is our Super Bowl, guys. You know, really soak it up, enjoy it, because it only happens once a year. And that's right. This is what we all spend the entire year building up to and anticipating. So
facts, bro.
Feel the excitement, guys. The Olympia is coming. It's almost here. So, Phil, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you next week, dude.
Right on, brother. Take care. Safe travels.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Ronline Report with 7-time Mr. Olympia Phil Heath, and we'll see you next time. Hey, did you like that video? Smash that like button, subscribe to MD, and please comment down below. Thanks for watching.